Welcome back into CBS Sports HQ on this Wednesday. The NFL trade deadline is just around the corner. It is Tuesday, November 4th. The deadline is 4 Eastern. So right now, everybody's trying to figure out what trades are going to go down, what teams need specific positions to try to help them out to get to the postseason. You see some of the proposed trades our team has put together. We're going to ask Ryan Wilson his thoughts on those. Also, we have an article on CBSSports.com with some other proposed trades as well. So let's bring in Ryan Wilson here. We're going to start off with the Kansas City Chiefs. Alvin Kamara to the Chiefs. And it feels like there was a theme of potentially the Saints going on a fire sale here.
Hey, man, good to see you. I absolutely love this trade for both Alvin Kamara and the Chiefs. They drafted Brashard Smith in the 7th round. They're bringing him along slowly. Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt are obviously number 1 and number 2. But it's been a running back by committee. But if you want to juice it up a little bit, I think Alvin Kamara makes a ton of sense. You're also getting Rashee Rice back this week, and now you can dial up that offense to what we're accustomed to seeing it looking like, because it's been in fits and starts over the first month and a half of the season. Kamara's 29, 30 years old, but he still has enough left this season and even next season to give you what you're looking for at the running back position. Oh, by the way, he is incredibly efficient coming out of the backfield as a receiver. As you see here, well-timed footage, and I think that seamlessly transitions to what ain't going so great in New Orleans to what could be going great in Kansas City as they figure this thing out.
All right, so you like that one. What about this one? It's a little interesting. A.J. Brown to the Patriots. He'll be reunited with Mike Vrabel there. It would give the Eagles a little bit of breathing room when it comes to the cap. But, I mean, such a crucial part of their offense, although we haven't so much seen it this season. How would you like that trade?
So on the surface, it makes me nervous, but since I have to give you a black or white answer here, I hate it, and I hate it for this reason. You touched on it. What does this mean for the Eagles offense that's already sputtering? If you don't have A.J. Brown, who may not be happy with how things are going, but he's not the only one in that locker room who isn't happy. Devonta Smith leads the team with 29 receptions. A.J. is right behind him with 25. If you move him from Philadelphia to New England, where Stephon Diggs is the leader in the clubhouse with over 30 receptions, is there enough balls to go around for A.J. Brown to get the receptions he wants to get? Now, they could use help at wide receiver, no doubt about it. The number 2 receiver in New England is Hunter Henry, the tight end, but this doesn't make the Eagles better by getting rid of one of their best players. It certainly helps the Patriots, and I love the underlying story of reuniting Mike Vrabel with A.J. Brown. But I think if you're A.J. Brown and the Eagles, you got to figure this thing out. Find ways to get him the ball. Find ways to get this offense going. And even if you were to get a first-round pick for A.J., I don't know if you would get that much for him, I would think in the short term about trying to win now if you're the Philadelphia Eagles.
I was just about to say, yeah, but this team's in win-now mode, especially trying to repeat. I agree with you. It doesn't make sense. For the Patriots, great. For the Eagles, it's absolutely horrible. What about this one? The Bills adding Chris Olave. As I mentioned, the Saints, we do expect them potentially to push out a lot of players there. They're looking for some draft picks. He could, open up space immediately when it comes for Josh Allen. How would you like that pairing?
I could not love a trade more than I love the idea of this trade for the Buffalo Bills. Although, for Spencer Rattler, my guy, we're not doing him any favors by getting rid of every single player on that offense. But that's a story for another time. But we saw in real time on Monday night against Atlanta what Josh Allen cannot do when he has no one to throw the ball to. Josh Palmer got hurt. Keon Coleman might as well have been invisible out there. And if you can stop Khalil Shakir, and the Falcons did that along with pressuring Josh Allen, there are no answers. Dalton Kincaid's been banged up. Dawson Knox is a serviceable tight end, but he's not going to be a guy you can focus on if all the other weapons get shut down. Chris Olave comes in and immediately opens everything up. And Bills fans are perhaps a little spoiled, but they're also frustrated that the team has not found an explosive wide receiver in the last few draft classes. They focused on defense this draft class, and you understand why. The defense is playing a little better, but someone like Chris Olave automatically changes the temperature, not only the wide receiver room, but what your quarterback can do. And by the way, if you're playing with Josh Allen and he's struggling, that's a clear indication that some other things need to get fixed. And if you're the Buffalo Bills, that's finding some explosive wide receiver play in the form of Chris Olave. And if it costs you a first-round pick, I'm giving him a first-round pick. So I think Chris Olave could be that good in Buffalo.
All right, another one we want to look at here, and this is interesting. Riq Woolen to the Cowboys. Seattle, look, they're in contention in their division right now. He has been struggling a little bit. I'm not sure what the Cowboys are thinking across the board. I just don't even know what the Cowboys are thinking. So what would you think about this potential trade?
I hate it. I don't like to use the word hate. I don't like my kids to use the word hate.
Yeah, but
let's
you've used
keep
it twice
real here.
already.
Yeah, I have. I won't tell you that Producer Tito made me do that. I don't want to call out Producer Tito. But the reality is this. I don't like the trade at all. I think that part we can agree on because you talked about it. Riq Woolen is not playing well in Seattle. He's not going to magically get better by going to a worse defense that desperately needs cornerbacks who play better. They have Deron Bland. They have Trevon Diggs, who have been okay, but they've also battled injuries or are coming back from injuries. But there's so many other holes in that team. And look, the Seahawks aren't particularly deep in the secondary. They've managed to get by with their pass rush, with their front seven. And Riq Woolen is in the last year of his deal, and Seattle very easily could choose to move on from him in the next few weeks and get a day 3 pick back. At least get something back in return. I understand that, but if you're the Cowboys and you want to give up a 5th or a 6th round pick for Riq Woolen, I understand it on one level, but on the other hand, you're not making your defense better unless he's going to magically refine his form from his rookie season. So I don't like this at all once you dig down a little deeper. I love Riq Woolen as a rookie, not so much the way he's played recently.
All right, you don't like that one. I have a feeling you may like this other one. If not, I'm going to question you. Trey Hendrickson to the 49ers. I mean, as soon as Nick Bosa went down, it seemed like everybody was like, this has got to be it. I mean, he's not happy there in his situation in Cincinnati. They need someone desperately, although I was listening to Pushing the Pile. Mike Renner suggested maybe him to the Lions, but what would you think about him to the 49ers?
Yeah, no, I love it. And anywhere but Cincinnati, I think, would be the Trey Hendrickson trade request if we were to ask him. Because as you note, Amanda, he is not happy with how things have gone in Cincy the last few years in terms of his contract. He may be 30 years old. He is still getting after it. Had 17.5 sacks in back-to-back seasons. Also 30 years old, T.J. Watt, who just got paid a boatload of money this summer. And then you look at this graphic with all the injuries on both sides of the ball, most recently Fred Warner, who's done for the year with the ankle. We saw their inability to get after the quarterback, not just last week against Tampa Bay, but in the previous weeks. Once Nick Bosa went down, it's been putting a lot of stress on that secondary. I think Trey Hendrickson is a no-brainer for a lot of teams, and that's good news for Cincinnati. They don't need to lose Trey Hendrickson, but they've seemed to have painted themselves into a corner where they're going to at least get something in return. Maybe it's a 2nd-round pick, maybe it's a 3rd-round pick. I don't know if the defense can get any worse in Cincy. We'll find out once they move on from Trey Hendrickson. But that team has so many issues. You might as well stockpile draft picks and try to get it right get it right in the spring once the draft rolls around.
Ryan Wilson, we appreciate it. Weighing in on some potential trades that we could see before the deadline. Again, that is November 4th with the first pick. Ryan Wilson is the host there. Of course, they talk about the draft. They talk about everything when it comes to do with the NFL. So make sure to download and subscribe or watch now.